And we're live. All right. So, hey, welcome to the new series that we are starting, Enterprise for Real Estate. And who better should we do this with than my colleague, Darin McLeskey, who there's a lot of good trivia here for people. Darin has been around in real estate for close to 10 years now. It seems unbelievable because he's quite young. So 10 years of real estate work already in the greater Detroit area and in Michigan. And not a lot of people know this, but Darin is actually a long-time LandGrid user, one of our everyday, daily LandGrid platform user, one of our power users. And that's how the relationship between Loveland and Darin grew over time. And we eventually absorbed him into the family. And now Darin is the enterprise sales manager here at Loveland because nobody knows the platform better than Darin right now. Right, Darin?
That is correct.
So Darin, walk me through your experience with real estate in Michigan and in the greater Detroit area. You've been doing this for close to 10 years now.
Yeah, that's correct. So back when I was in college, actually studying to be an engineer, Why Don't We Own This was launched, which was the precursor to Loveland and LandGrid. And at that time, the county tax auctions in Detroit and Wayne County were very old school, just papers and whatnot. So Why Don't We Own This provided a nice platform to be able to map and investigate properties. And that's how I started actually forming connections with other people through that platform and being able to research properties. So beyond that, we kind of expanded using custom data, importing it into the system, surveying properties in the field. And it's been very helpful in many facets of real estate.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we haven't really talked about as much. Oftentimes when we talk about LandGrid platform or LandGrid enterprise, we end up talking about counties and land banks and municipalities that use the platform, but we often forget that this is so useful for folks in real estate. So I would like to really know more about that. Just for some context, this entire video series, this is the part one of it. We hope to make many videos just focused on how you can leverage this platform for people in real estate, because this is an incredibly useful tool for absolutely everyone. And I think Darin can really help us understand how he, as somebody who's been actively involved in real estate for over 10 years, has been using it over time to help with your work. And you can use your own data, and augment that with the data that we provide as part of LandGrid platform and get greater insights from it. So let's quickly segue into that section of this series. I remember, Darin, when we first met, you would tell me that you would use LandGrid platform on an average at least for an hour or two every day for your work in real estate. Yeah, almost every day, at least minimum an hour you would spend on the LandGrid platform. So walk us through that. So what would you use it for? What were you looking to obtain?
So there's really two tracks in real estate. There's kind of a brokerage agent kind of track, and then there's an investor track. So I happen to be in both fields. So I have a brokerage and then also own a lot of investment properties myself. And a lot of it is either finding leads. Maybe it's a property owner that wants to list all of his properties by using LandGrid and creating a custom survey. You can go visit all 8 or 10 of their properties that they need to list, take pictures, fill out a bunch of questions. It's a lot easier than just jotting down notes in a notebook and processing them later. In terms of actually buying properties as investments, sometimes we would get kind of the foreclosure sheriff sale list and be able to send someone out to go investigate a lot of properties and be able to track it. I also have other real estate clients who maintain their properties and will do either a quarterly or annual survey looking at the condition of the properties and even if they're vacant lots, whether they need to be mowed or not, and where kind of to deploy the resources in terms of if there's certain problem areas within a client's portfolio.
Yeah. So basically, it can be used for property management and property maintenance. information.
Yeah,
Right.
that is definitely a use case.
Okay.
Beyond that, a lot of data, if you have access to custom data, whether it's side lots available for purchase, whether it's recent demolitions,
And there are many in the
yeah,
Detroit area.
in the Detroit area, even permits being pulled. If you wanted to kind of prospect, like, what part of the city or town is, are things happening, you can get a list of permits from your building department tied to an address, bring that right into LandGrid, and see what areas are kind of, most active with renovations and things like that.
Wonderful. And when you say the survey, you're talking about the LandGrid survey app.
Correct.
Right. All right. So the future videos that we do, the subsequent videos that we do in the series will be a deep dive into each one of the use cases, maybe a demo to go along with it. But for today's sake, just to build the context for the subsequent videos, are there any top use cases off the top of your head that you would like to just talk
Yeah. So one is, there's towns in Michigan that are kind of vacation towns and things like that. I bought a property as my own vacation rental, but obviously would be interested in buying more in the area to either flip, rent out, or whatnot. In a lot of, especially Rust Belt areas, but really anywhere in the United States, there's always, the occasional abandoned property. The grass is long, the snow is not plowed,
Hmm.
properties that kind of slip through someone's fingers, they're not being maintained. A lot of real estate investors and even brokers go after those properties to get listings or to buy as for investment purposes. So there is a town in northern Michigan called Amique where I was able to use the survey app and basically in one afternoon survey every property in the village just to get an idea of what was there, how many homes look vacant, how many homes have maintenance issues, things like that. So I'm going to share the screen really quick. I'll just show right here. So it's this little tiny town called Amique. Basically, I could just drive in my car with my phone, take pictures of every structure up and down the street. I actually own this property. I bought it in the tax auction, and I could answer: is there a structure? Yes. Is it occupied? No. What is the condition? Owner, contact information, and then answer questions about it. So then later, in a warm place back at a computer, I could basically process all of my data and figure out what's going on. I've since purchased a few other vacant properties that were either tax delinquent or not maintained, and I've been able to kind of get an idea of what's going on in this town. And that's been very helpful. So I was just able to create a custom survey, quickly survey something just in half of a day or so, and have a lot of data to be able to process and make a lot of informed decisions from there.
Yeah, and you did this for an entire town. It's a small town, given that, but still all with the platform and primarily with the LandGrid app that kind of integrates so beautifully with the platform.
Correct.
So speaking of abandoned buildings, I think the USPS data is also equally useful for folks in real estate because that kind of tells you and indicates what properties are residential and what properties are vacant. So that's so when you filter for that and see that these are the vacant properties, it kind of helps you with the property maintenance task and see which ones are abandoned, which ones could be flipped, which ones could be,
Yeah, and even when a lot of real estate agents, when they have a recent sale, will send mailers or postcards to all the neighbors saying, "Hey, we just sold this home. Do you want an analysis on your home?" Going through Loveland to figure out which homes are vacant or not can save a lot on postage and really help target. And if you combine that with even deeper data of recent sales, if you can mail it to the address itself if it's owner occupied, but mail it to the owner address if it's a tenant occupied structure. you can be a lot more efficient.
Yeah. So that's the other use case, is how you can bring your own data, whatever it is, MLS, other things, and then combine it and then get deeper insights for you in real estate.
Correct.
All right. So there are many more. This was just one of the use cases. I think there are about 10 to 15 use cases on a daily basis for folks using LandGrid in real estate. We'll explore all of those and do deep dives in the subsequent videos. But moving on, like this was a great example for Michigan, but for folks in real estate nationwide, because we do have data nationwide, our platform has data all over the country. What is the biggest takeaway? Like, what is the biggest value add for somebody in real estate for LandGrid? Like, if they were to like ask, I have a lot of other things. I have my own data that I've collected over the years. I have access to MLS. Like, what is LandGrid bringing that I don't have already? Something new to the table.
I think that LandGrid covers kind of both ends of the spectrum in terms of it's at the same time you can pull it out of your pocket, look up a property owner, see a parcel boundary within a matter of seconds, just pull over on the side of the road and figure that out. Or you can upload a great deal of data and be able to process it and have all different colored heat maps of where you want to focus on and clusters of big investors and where they're buying. So it really covers both ends of the spectrum in terms of just light, quick, and kind of dirty research, all the way down to really, really deep and insightful, knowledgeable data processing.
Yeah. So anything from property acquisition to maintenance to management to deeper insights, just generally having that kind of property knowledge.
Right.
Sounds good. Yeah. All right. So I think this was a great, quick, crash course into how our platform could help in real estate. Let's figure out how to get together next again and do a full-end demo on one of the use cases. I'm especially interested in your everyday use case where you spend an hour on LandGrid and how you use it. I would love to see the demo of that in our next video. But this was great fun. I'm going to put this up on our site, and hopefully we'll get some questions in the coming days from folks in real estate who are curious about how they want to use it. And yeah, let's explore all the use cases together. Sounds good?
Sounds good. Thanks, Sahana.
All right. Thank you, Darin. And Darin can be reached out to at darin@landgrid.com or at enterprise@landgrid.com. So if you have any questions about the platform, about your use case, whether it's in real estate, whether it's about surveying, or if you have a big project at hand, don't hesitate to reach out. One of us will always be able to respond back, do a quick demo, and take things forward from there. Sounds good?
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.